Every Saturday, we have a corner called Koreanish, and this is where we meet a member of the expat community to talk about their personal experience in Korea. And this week, I'm joined by Aaron Chan Meinero from the U.S. Good morning, Aaron.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming in. Would you mind introducing yourself first to our listeners?
Yeah, my name is Aaron Chan Meinero. I go by the artist name Jin Aaron sometimes. I'm from New York. I'm an actor, dancer, done a lot of work in entertainment in Korea. My mother is Chinese. My father is Italian-American. Yeah, I've been in Korea for over 5 years, in between 5 and 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as you say, Chan Meinero. So your mother's Chinese and your father is Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the connection with Korea then?
Korea, for me, was something that I discovered later on. Actually came from a close friend that I had in high school.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up, I was very fortunate in middle school and in high school. I actually learned Japanese for 7 years, and I was very exposed to Asian cultures, also being Chinese. And I actually had a Korean friend, and he is the first one who exposed me to K-pop and stuff and things like that. And around that time, it was 2011, 2012 is when that Hallyu wave really just hit America really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I just fell in love with Korean culture and entertainment.
What's the first group or artist that you fell in love with? I mean, not all of them are equal, right?
Yeah, of course. I definitely remember the very first K-pop video I ever saw was Super Junior's Sorry Sorry.
Sorry, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry, sorry.
Sorry, sorry, exactly. And
did you learn the dance too? Because you said you're an actor and dancer. You must have learned it, right?
So what happened was the way that I saw that is my friend came to me. I had been in the breakdancing club at my high school.
I see.
And he brought the dance to me in the performance video, and he said, hey, I really want to perform this at the culture show.
Uh-huh.
Can you learn it and teach it to us and we can do it together? I just fell in love with that video of they're so perfectly in sync, and so they're just so cool. I just loved everything about it. So
you took him up on the offer and you learned it?
I learned it, but then he ended up chickening out, and so we didn't perform it, but I do know part of it, yeah. I know most of the dance, yeah.
It looks easy, I have to say, the rubbing of the hands and the shorty, but I've seen people do it and it just doesn't look the same.
There is a tutting section featuring, I think it's Inyuk, he does a tutting section that's very difficult. That's very, very, very difficult.
Okay, so that was your sort of introduction into
Yes.
Korean culture. But when you attended university, you actually majored in international relations
Yes.
and politics, and this was kind of running in the family, I guess. You wanted to be a lawyer.
Actually, I had a lot of great lawyers around me. My uncle was one. He's now, I had to write his title down because I couldn't remember. It's the National Violent Crime and Narcotics Coordinator at the Executive Office of the U.S.
Sounds very
Attorneys.
important.
Yeah,
Yes.
He was a big inspiration to me growing up. Also, one of my professors in college, Jolio Carney Waterton, he was a huge inspiration to me. He still is. He reaches out to me all the time, talk about my life in Korea. He loves Korean stuff too, and I just had all these great lawyers in my area, and I thought it was something I wanted to pursue.
And your parents must have been very happy when you said, oh, this is what I'm going to pursue. And then you minored in Korean.
Yes. That was kind of, it was kind of just more, I was so into Korean stuff at the time, and I couldn't help it. I just had to learn the language. I wanted to be able to, watch the TV shows and the dramas, and I wanted to be able to come here. And that was the first real tool that I needed in order to accomplish that.
Well, at that point, you already probably, I assume, you spoke Chinese. Did you speak Chinese?
I can understand Cantonese to a certain extent. My grandmother does. My grandmother doesn't speak any English, so she would always be saying things to me, and I can understand. Mostly when she's saying nice things about me, of course.
Selective hearing, yes, I understand.
And when we go to dim sum and stuff, I know how to kind of order stuff in the food and stuff, but I can't really speak it.
I see.
Mostly because my father doesn't speak Chinese.
Okay.
So growing up, there was no reason for my mother to speak Chinese in the house.
But you also spoke Japanese. You said you had spent years
I spent
learning.
7.5 years learning Japanese. It's funny because after I stopped learning Japanese, I learned Korean. So it made learning Korean a lot easier. but the problem was that they kind of overlap to a certain extent.
Right. It gets jumbled up in the brain, doesn't it?
Exactly. So I can understand Japanese like very, very, very well.
Okay.
I can't really form sentences the way that I used to.
You just blurt out Korean, don't you?
Exactly.
Or mix between Korean and English.
Exactly.
Been there, done that. Got it, Aaron. But I understand you're fluent in Korean, so I was just wondering if you had any tips. Because I know a lot of our listeners do want to improve their Korean, but maybe having a hard time. What's your number one tip?
I would say that Korean is in any foreign language that you learn, there's I like to say, this might sound a little profound, but it's a science and it's also an art. Like, you have to remember that there are things that you have to memorize.
The grammars, the verbs.
Exactly. And there's parts where Korean sometimes feels like a puzzle, you know, how you have to put things together. But also it's an art. Like, you have to listen and you have to interpret what people say. And you have to perform it back at them, almost. You know,
that's the tip, isn't it? That's your unique tip. I think performing it back to them.
Exactly.
I think that's key too.
Yeah, you need to immerse yourself. I think that's really important. You need to be hearing it all the time. I always tell people, this is kind of funny, when I learned Korean like really, really hard, I would watch Running Man all the time, the variety show, and I watched hundreds and hundreds of hours of it. And what I think that helped is, it's not scripted like a drama is.
Right.
And they're just kind of talking and hanging out and playing games, and they go around and you can just hear them talk very naturally and normally. Another great thing about variety shows is the captions, things that blurt out what they say something funny in. What I would do is I would just pause it and write down what they said and
look it up.
And look it up, certain words I didn't know.
And it is just entertaining. And they are very physical at the same time.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on. So it's not just a static kind of boring lesson, but you're absorbing a lot of that.
Very immersive.
So that's interesting. All right. So you immersed yourself in Korean, but it was still a minor. When you decided to come out to Korea and give up your lucrative or promising law career, how did your family react to that? Was it a big decision? Was it a difficult decision for you?
The way I see it is, I feel like the lawyer career in law school it's still always going to be there for me. It's still an option on the table. Entertainment and stuff, traveling like this, living alone, not having any, family or things like that, not having any like obligations. This is the time to do this. That's what I thought. My parents feel the same way. They're very, very, very supportive. They always tell me, like, sometimes I have doubts, and sometimes they tell me, like, look, you need to try this now. You don't want to regret this later. So they're very proud of me, and they actually came to visit me last year, and they're always so telling me how proud they are that I've, built a life here. And
that's great to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, 6 years you've been here. So, yeah, I mean, that's considering your total number of years here on Earth. Yeah, 6 years is probably quite a big chunk of that. When you first came here, I understand you taught English. You were an English teacher initially?
Very, very first time I was a student.
Okay.
And then when I came back for work, I was a teacher, yes.
How was that experience? How long did you last as an English teacher?
I was an English teacher for 3 years.
Oh, that's quite a bit.
2 different schools, one in Seoul and one in Incheon.
Did you have a natural affinity with working with children and some material for children as well?
Oh, absolutely. Growing up, I mean, all my summer jobs and stuff, I used to work at elementary schools in America.
I
used to work at camps. And I'm telling you, watching Running Man, like, I learned how to do so many games and things that, especially that kids could
came
relate
in handy.
to. It really did, yeah. Acting too, teaching is a performance. It was definitely a great public speaking experience. Taught me how to be, you got to entertain these kids or they're not going to pay attention to you. And you got to put on that same show 5 times a day, every single day, for in front of 25 new kids every 40 minutes. And it's hard, like, but it's great practice and it was fun.
So was your experience teaching kids, did that sort of push you into maybe pursuing this career in entertainment? Or was it something that you imagined doing from your very first kind of K-pop video back in high school?
I would say that my kind of decision came later on. Before, like, I came to Korea. It was definitely not right when I got into it. At first I kind of just like liked it and I was like a fan, and then eventually it hit a point where I was like, okay, like, I want to be a part of this. and it became very logistical. Like, what can I do to be a part of this? And
can you sing?
I can sing a little bit. I'm not the best singer. I tried out for a lot of the programs and stuff and didn't get very far. And then I started rapping. I could dance a little bit, so I wasn't totally untalented, I like to think, but I thought that the most important thing was Korean ability for me. Korean ability and building a network. Those are the two things that I needed to make it in Korea, I thought. So those are what I focused on for the most part.
How do you make a network, and how do you get your foot in the door with the entertainment industry, though? Must not be easy, especially for a foreigner.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of people are very, very surprised that I know a lot of people. And a lot of it is I got very lucky. And one of the other reasons I actually decided to move to Korea is because I had some of these connections kind of already.
How so?
One of my really good friends who I work with a lot, he is a music video director.
I see.
And he had worked with a Korean film company in America, all the big K-pop music videos. And my friend is also a dancer, so he was in the Beautiful Night music video. Beast shot that in New Jersey. And they became really close, and they kept in touch. And then when we came out here, we started talking to them and working with them. And it just, when you have like a film crew, a lot of people, they just reach out to you, and we just meet people through other people. And
one thing led to another.
Exactly. Through that music video company, I got my very, very first gig in Korea, which was it was actually a Girls' Generation music video.
Ooh.
And I had been such a huge fan of them that when I actually met them, I was like, I had to calm down.
Were you one of the backup dancers then?
Yeah, I was kind of like an extra and a dancer. I only showed up for a little bit.
Exciting.
But it was such a cool experience, and that was 2 months within me moving to, Korea as like when working here, and then through that, you meet other people and they get you jobs, and
that's amazing. Okay, so I thought actually you maybe started your sort of entertainment foray through children's videos or children's content, because you appeared on Kuma Boss Tayo, and this is a major thing. This Christmas song, I saw it online too, and you're very good, and apparently it made you famous because a real celebrity also recognized you through this.
Yeah, so it's kind of a long story how I got on there, but pretty much when I was a student, one of my friends, her friend ended up working at Iconics, which is the company for Bororo and Como Boss Tayo. And pretty much like they reached out to me and they were like, we know you can dance and we know you can kind of speak Korean. So we wanted like a foreigner to do these holiday videos. And we're wondering if you're interested. And I was like, really? They were like, yeah. So they
jumped at the chance?
I thought about it. I was like, this is not really something I thought about doing with my life, but I mean, I thought it was a great opportunity. And I obviously love like animation and stuff growing up too. So I was like, this is a great opportunity. And I took it. I had to learn these 2 dances really quickly. And then shot them with the buses and everything. And it was funny. And like you said, the celebrity thing, I actually met Haha from Running Man. It was last weekend. And it was really cool because we were eating, and he came in, and he's friends with one of my other friends. So he came in and he sat down, and then he kind of pointed at me. He goes, oh, I feel like I've seen you somewhere. And I was like, oh, I'm friends with this guy. Maybe you saw me or something. And he goes, oh, okay. And then maybe 10 minutes later, he goes, I've definitely seen you somewhere. And then my friend goes, Como Boss Tayo? Tayo Bus? And then, he did that face that he always does. He goes, Tayo Bus? He's like, oh, my kids are crazy about Tayo Bus. And he's like, oh, that's probably where I saw you. And it was just like such an unreal experience. It was like a dream come true. This guy that I've watched hundreds of hours of TV.
He was more excited to see you, and he could take a selfie with you that he could show to his kids, and he becomes the best dad ever. That must have been exciting.
It was so unreal. It was one of the best experiences.
Good. And your experience both in front of the camera, I'm sure, will also help as well. Thank you very much. I want to wish you the best of luck in all of your future projects.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you on the air sometime. Thank you very much, Aaron.
No, thank you.